Enlarge. The opening ceremonies will take place right here, and if you want to see them in 4K, you'll have to wait longer and jump through more hoops to do so. You may have heard that this month's Winter Olympics in Pyeongchang, South Korea, will include a major 4K broadcasting rollout, which would make it one of the world's first major sporting events to get full 4K and HDR support. Sports are unique in the 4K ecosystem for two reasons: because more pixels actually pay off for average viewers when looking at wide-angled views of high-speed sports, and because so few sports are filmed with 4K-friendly cameras. Of course, one reason they're rare is because current over-the-air and cable broadcasting standards max out well below 4K resolution and without support for HDR. So how exactly can sports fans access the world's most high-res figure skating and hockey with only days to go before the Olympics kick off? American paid TV carriers are scrambling to answer that exact question, and we've summed up the information available so far, all while trying and failing to secure our own 4K Olympics access. Satellite options. 4K limits. Unsurprisingly, as the owner of the Winter Olympics primary broadcaster in the United States, Comcast has a pretty big stake in how you can get your hands on 4K Olympic content. Comcast announced on January 22 that it would serve as the intermediary between the filming production crews, Olympic Broadcasting Services, NHK Japan, and any U.S. distribution partners who will individually choose how they will make the content available to the customers. Comcast subsidiary NBC later confirmed that this means number 4K access through non-ISP sources, particularly NBCOlympics.com. No matter where you watch your 4K Olympics feed, however, be warned, not every sport will be aired in 4K, and none of the 4K sports will broadcast live. Instead, all of the content will be made available on delay. Anybody who has a particular interest in 4K resolution Olympics will arguably need to stay off of social media and sports score sites for the month of February. As of press time, only 2 American TV providers outside of Comcast have confirmed that they'll serve 4K HDR Olympics content. Satellite provider DirecTV waited until this past Saturday to confirm to viewers, in a notice buried in its customer service forums, that 4K and HDR Olympics content will broadcast on its 4K-supported channel 106. While the channel is sometimes restricted to subscribers of DirecTV's Ultimate tier, posts at the company's forums suggest that such a tier requirement may be lifted throughout the Olympics duration. At that point, users will need to have either a Genie HD DVR model HR54 or above a 4K Genie Mini set-top box. The other non-Comcast provider, Dish Network, waited until this week to confirm its 4K Olympics participation. Dish customers will need to use a Hopper 3 set-top box to access 4K HDR Olympic programming on its channel 540. Neither of those providers appears to offer an on-demand way to access this delayed 4K Olympics content, and, as of press time, neither provider has updated its set-top channel guides to include exact schedules for its respective channels. The closest we currently have is an unconfirmed content list from tvancimon.com, which confirms what NBC has previously stated, that the 4K content will be limited to the opening ceremonies, figure skating, short track, ski jumping, and ice hockey. Sorry, curling fans. TVancimon's schedule does not include a time zone. Comcast may work for you, but not for me. Comcast appears to be the sole American provider to offer on-demand viewing of these sports events once the delays are upped, as opposed to making customers schedule exact recording times on DVR. However, I want to be able to prove that, as Comcast has confirmed to Ars Technica that, in my hometown of Seattle, the company's network is not set up to support 4K content. Figuring this out required 47 minutes on multiple Comcast customer service calls in which I was bounced to multiple reps. Most of them didn't understand what kind of TV viewing I sought. One of them asked me questions about this 4D television I was talking about. The first agent suggested I use Xfinity Instant TV, which is an app-only way to access Comcast's TV content, but I reminded her that this app doesn't support a 4K signal. The second agent advised me to utilize a certain URL to access paid TV content, but it didn't work, as I don't currently pay for Comcast TV services. Then I was told to boot a Netflix app through an Xfinity X1 set-top box, but, again, I don't pay for Comcast TV services, let alone have an X1 box. A manager was better able to break down the specific things it need: a 4K-compatible X1 set-top box, a subscription to any Comcast television package, even the most basic one, and support for 4K content in my region's network. Despite the fact that my home internet connection peaks at 250 megabits per second and can chew through Netflix and Amazon Video 4K content, however, Comcast apparently doesn't have its Seattle network ducks in a row, at least according to the manager who tried to sell me a $69.95 per mo basic cable service as a no-contract required add-on. That insane amount would not have even included the cost of leasing an X1 box. This delivery method, by the way, differs from Comcast's delivery of 4K content for the 2016 Summer Olympics in Rio. For those games, Comcast required use of a smart TV app built into certain Samsung and LG TVs, and thus, that signal was entirely dependent on internet streaming. DirecTV and Dish delivered their own 4K feeds for the Rio Games nearly the exact same way they're doing this year. Comcast does not currently provide a method for users to determine whether the region's network supports a 4K signal to X1 boxes. As of press time, Comcast's PR department had not definitively answered whether I had any 4K Olympics options at my current address. Update 11:23 a.m. A Comcast PR representative reached out to Ars Technica to say that the company's entire television footprint in the United States supports 4K signals sent to X1 boxes. The company still hasn't explained how its call center rep came to a completely different conclusion. Thus, for now, I won't be able to answer some of my major 4K Olympic questions. Will these providers deliver a true 2160p signal, or one that is pockmarked with compression artifacts? How well will the OBS and NHK Japan camera crews capture and render a full HDR spectrum of color gamut, and how much easier will it be to follow the tiny little hockey puck with the benefit of 4K clarity? I liked the stupid Fox Sports glow puck from the 90s. Sue me. Should my access or options change, rest assured, we will return with a closer look at the first HDR-enabled Olympic Games.